When the legal system falls silent, the people must speak. Welcome to the BDG's Court of Public Opinion, where truth meets strategy. Hi, everybody. My name is Jodi Lewis, CEO of the Brand Development Group and Senior Strategist, where we have a special division where we focus on legal case amplification. This is the first episode of the Court of Public Opinion brought to you by the Brand Development Group. So I'm excited to kind of be up here today. I have a colleague and friend that I work with, one of the top lawyers out of Washington, D.C., in my opinion, and I think it's documented as well. Her name is Attorney Latoya Francis-Williams, and we also have a client that we both represent, Mark Ferrell, who is the ex-husband of Kelly Potter. I'm going to go ahead and bring them on in. Hey, Mark. Hey, Latoya. Let's adjust this to where we can have a good conversation here. We are going to be talking about the operational agreement. You know, we want to put out things that combat this narrative, this false narrative out there that Kelly was the sole owner of Nana's Chicken and Waffles, which is, quite absurd considering that we have the documentation that says otherwise. But rather than just say it's absurd, we want to take the opportunity, take the time to walk the audience through why it's absurd. So I've invited Mark and Latoya to have this dialogue with us. We're going to actually share certain evidence so you guys can actually see what we see. That includes the operating agreement. That also includes some text messages from Mark, Kelly, and their at the time business partner. So that's a good introduction about what you're going to watch today. So stay tuned. We're going to get started here. So first and foremost, Mark, thank you for doing this. I will tell the audience that this is not what Mark does. This is not. He is definitely a very quiet and reserved, peaceful person. So him having to be out here talking about his personal business is never easy. So Mark, we appreciate you taking the time to join us today. How are you feeling?
I'm good. What about you?
I'm doing good. I'm going to just shift you up here so people can see you. Ask you a first set of questions. You started Nana's Chicken and Waffles what year?
2016.
2016.
Yeah.
And you started it by yourself, correct?
Correct, I did, yes.
Okay, so when in terms of starting it, give us a little background on how you got Nana's Chicken and Waffles started. What documentation did you file, the whole 9 yards?
I started Nana's Chicken and Waffles 2016. I was staying out in Conyers, Georgia. I saw this building that was available, and I ended up going for it. Went and got the LLC, the Secretary of State, the EIN, and I ended up going for it. Got the building. I spoke with the landlord, signed the lease, and after that, everything went well.
Awesome. So fast forward, and I'm going to very much summarize this. Fast forward, you and your wife have some issues. You guys are starting to do the separation thing, still working together, still working together when it comes to Nana's and Chicken and Waffle. What year did you invite Kelly in to help you grow your business?
It was around 2016 after I got started. I had helped her. I actually funded and helped her get one fab event. It was an event planning business that she got, and she was doing pretty well with that. But the clients and customers was complaining, the bridezillas and things like that. So I invited her to come over and help me with my restaurant idea. And that's how that started.
Awesome. So the two of you guys worked together from 2016.
Yeah.
Now let's fast forward up to 2022. Your business partner, you guys are now separated, but still trying to operate the business. I know that you guys wanted to expand the business around this time. You're doing quite well. Business partner gives you a call, and what tell us what happened when the business partner reached out to you.
The business partner had gave me a call because he always monitor all our bank accounts and things like that. And he noticed that Kelly was spending money, just taking money out the account. And he called me. He's like, "Hey, do you see what Kelly's doing?" So I'm like, "No, I haven't looked in today." So he alerted me that she was spending, taking a lot of cash out of the account. And that's when he was like, well, we need to talk about it. And we ended up getting back on the phone. And he said, you probably should move them funds out of the account because this money is earmarked, for the two other locations that you guys was getting. And he didn't want us messing with the funds that we had in our other account.
Okay. So you get this call. Kelly is spending money, potentially misspending money on things. We have the bank statements,
Mm-hmm.
um, and your business manager tells you to safeguard those funds.
Correct.
And and that's what you did. You guarded the funds, and the business manager also suggested that you guys formulated operating agreement, correct?
Yes, yes. After the spending problem was going, getting out of hand, because he was always on us about, hey, y'all cannot go into business funds. Always separate that.
Right.
So that's what we did. So he was like, at this point, because we had separated at the time, he was like, let's get an operating agreement so nobody can do nothing without the other person. Because at that time, I had 100% of the company. I had
Right.
owned everything. And
Hmm.
when we did the operating agreement, I ended up giving her 50% of the company.
Right. So you own the company 100% outright. I know I've seen the trademark to Nana's. I've seen the EIN, the Secretary of State documentation, the food truck. I've seen the title that was 100% in your name.
Yes.
And you willingly was like, look, this is my wife,
Hmm.
no matter what, she deserves half. So I'm willing to give her half of the company, no questions asked.
That's correct. Hmm.
Correct. Okay. Awesome. Thank you for setting that up. So what I want to do is actually want to introduce or bring up here Latoya, put you in the hot seat here. And before we get started, and guys, listen, we have the operational agreement. I'm going to show you on the screen. But before we get started for the audience, let's talk about just a general operating agreement. What is that? Why do businesses need it? Give us the basics.
Right. So the $420,000 question of the evening, right? What is an operating agreement? I hate to make light of such a very drab and dark situation, but sometimes you laugh from crying.
Mhm.
But an operating agreement, especially where you have a company and members that are functioning, an operating agreement is what we call the instrument, the document that tells you your do's and your don'ts, all right, everyone's role. It can range from being as specific as telling you, as a member of the business, what kind of money you can withdraw from a business account or how to do it. More importantly, your rights and responsibilities really flow from the operating agreement. And it is exactly what it sounds like. It allows you to function, to operate as a business, and most importantly, and in this case, it was an agreement. It was an agreement between Mr. Ferrell and Ms. Potter. And as you heard from Mr. Ferrell, it came about, whether it should have come about earlier or not is really not the point, but it came about because their business advisor saw that Ms. Potter was spending unlawfully money that was earmarked for a building fund. Some of that money was loan money, and rightfully so. Their business advisor noted, hey, this is unlawful. You can't do this. And so, just as you heard from Mr. Farrell, the business advisor said, we need an operating agreement. He talked to Mr. Farrell. He talked to Ms. Potter. The three of them talked together. We have the text messages, we have the group text messages, and they came to an agreement after robust conversations about what should be included, what should be excluded. And here's the real takeaway in this case. The major moving factor for the operating agreement was Miss Potter was spending funds she was not supposed to spend. The operating agreement not only curtailed that, but more importantly, after it was signed, that's when Mr. Farrell felt comfortable to put that money that was safe harbored. We're talking about money that she didn't get to spend yet. This is
Right.
money that Mr. Farrell was using to continue with the building project because work was still going. He
Right.
felt comfortable put that money back into one of their joint accounts, because at no time did Miss Potter not have access to what was happening. At no time did she not know what was going on. At every stage, at every point, she was an involved, active participant in getting this agreement together. So I say all that to say, what is the operating agreement? It is, in fact, the document that tells the members. In this case, there were only two members of Nana's Chicken and Waffles. First, it was just Mr. Ferrell, and then second, it became Mr. Ferrell and Miss Potter. So there were only two members. And the agreement that was brought about between the robust conversations between all three of these persons, Miss Potter, Mr. Ferrell, and their business advisor, was in fact this document. This document that we have, thankfully,
Right. Right. And so I think
to be
that's
able to show
actually a
the
really
audience.
good. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So I think that's actually a really good opportunity to show the operational agreement. Do we want to start a team here with the operational agreement? Do we want to start with the text messages? Ultimately, the point of this is to show and prove that Ms. Farrell was very much of a mutual agreement, that she participated in that and then, in fact, lied and said that she was sole owner. So I think maybe we start with the operational agreement.
I think so too. It speaks for itself, but if we have page 1, we can start there.
Sure. Okay, Latoya, you know, you're the attorney in here. You can run us through what we're looking like, what we're looking at.
What you're looking at is, in fact, the operating agreement that was in effect at all relevant times. You can read it. It not only speaks for itself, but it says big and bold, top line, limited liability company operating agreement of Nana's Chicken and Waffles, LLC. It gives you the members. You see 2 when you look and you go 3 lines down. It gives you our names, who are the members. It tells not only the address of the members, but again, the document was a product of the conversations between Ms. Potter, Mr. Ferrell, and their business advisor.
Okay, awesome. And so just for clarification, Mark, you're familiar with this document?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and this is the document that the business manager drew up for you. And Latoya, in terms of legality and this holding up in court, isn't the operating agreement one of the most sound things that business partners can have? This is the staple document that you can take to court and say, look, we had an agreement of how we're going to run our business, and that person is not is ignoring the opera. This is the key thing that you need in having a business, with, especially with partners, correct?
Right. So literally in the law, we call it, this is the operative instrument, right? Outside of law, layman's terms, what do we say every day? This is the Bible of the nuts and bolts of the business when it comes to the members and the members' rights and responsibilities. But here's the real key. This is the law. This is what a judge should have looked at. This is what Ms. Potter should have brought to the court. This is what Ms. Potter should not have lied about. This is what the court should have considered when trying to determine who was owner, who was not the owner, what their roles and their responsibilities were, and to determine whether or not Ms. Potter, when she ran to court, even after signing this document, whether she in fact was telling the truth or not. Now, again, unfortunately, we live in a system where anyone can literally run to court and say just about anything. And in this instance, that's what happened. Ms. Potter hired an attorney despite having this conversation, working up, and getting an operating agreement together and signing it. And we'll look at page 13, her signature. Despite having this, you can run to, this is page 13. You can see it was executed April 28, 2022. Obviously, the lawsuit will talk about why that date is important, the chronology, because at the time that the court really challenged, meaning listened to Ms. Potter and listened to her allegations and listened to those lies, if the court had this in front of it, it would have seen, number one, Mr. Ferrell was in fact the sole 100% owner, and he graciously gifted Ms. Potter 50% ownership in this business. But most importantly, number two, one could not allege that Mr. Ferrell stole money from his own business when in fact he had the right and the responsibility under the law at the behest of the business advisor to move this money that Ms. Potter was misusing and to safe harbor these funds until, in fact, she signed this document, which she did. And of course, we'll get into the other text messages,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
the
it's a perfect segue to even talk about the text messages, right? Because if one says, "Oh, I don't remember signing that," we
right,
we can bring the text messages up. And those that are fascinated by law, like myself, I am no lawyer, but I work with some of the best lawyers in the country. I'm fascinated with how people can say that they haven't signed something or they are unaware of something, but then you find the evidence, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. You find evidence such as this. We can talk about this one, this
I'm,
text message.
right. So again, here is, as we say, the faintest ink is stronger than the strongest memory. Miss Potter has continued this narrative. Bravo. Real Housewives of Atlanta, they've continued this narrative that somehow Mr. Ferrell stole from his business. When here you have literally in black and white, you can see the group message between RB, business advisor, K is Kelly, and of course the third person is Mr. Ferrell. But you can see Kelly's own statement, hello, as we previously discussed on Monday, exclamation point. These are Kelly's words on April 27, 2022. She says we needed to have one more additional conversation pertaining to moving forward with an operating agreement and moving the allocated and dedicated funds to the new trust account so the lease can be signed for McDonough. Please let me know if we can meet first thing tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Thank you, Kelly. Now, there's a lot in that message from Kelly to the group. It says a number of things. Number one, it says that she had, in fact, been in robust conversations with not only Mr. Ferrell, but their business advisor. Number two, she was made aware that she had no right and no business to misappropriate business funds. Number three, it addresses that she knows that she was coming to an agreement as to the operating agreement. Number four, it gives a date. The date before when she asked to have yet another conversation in dealing with the operating agreement. And again, it addresses a lease for the McDonough location, one of the building funds going to that location. But here's the key. When Miss Potter went to court in June of 2022, June 13 to be exact, and lied to the court and said she had no idea what was happening with the locations, with the business, with the operating agreement, that she had no idea. She was locked out of the business. She couldn't function. That is a flat out lie. When you look at that text message, not only do you see she was well aware that there is an operating agreement that was being worked up by her and Mr. Ferrell, but if you look at the next message, where she acknowledges that she got the signed copy. This is yet another message. But if you look at that next message, on the 28th, from the business advisor, hi, I just emailed each of you a copy of the signed operating agreement with both signatures. Now, we just looked at both signatures, and Kelly's response is, thank you, screenshot, and you see the thumbs up. Now, not only does this demonstrate that Miss Potter was malicious in her going to the court to steal Mr. Ferrell's business, not only does it show you that she was malicious when she went to the court and lied and said she was sole owner of Nana's Chicken and Waffles, not only does it show that she was malicious when she did not present to the court this, which is the law on the functioning of Nana's Chicken and Waffles, but it shows the recency in how wicked her movement was. She signed the agreement that she agreed to. She was blessed with 50% of a business that she did not have 50% ownership in. And not only did the court give her an opportunity to correct this wrong, meaning anytime you hold your hand up and you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth when you're testifying in court, whenever you present a document before the tribunal, is what we call it, you have an obligation to be candid, to show candor. This document, with the text message, with the date and the chronology, shows that Kelly Potter is a bold-faced liar. It's not easy to call from.
it's not easy to call somebody a liar, but at this juncture, I mean, this is a pure lie. And the lie that, let's say that, where she went on Bravo and said he stole 500,000 and he's never paid it back. It's a quite interesting, because we know, because we have the actual receipts of the money being put back into the joint account once the operational agreement was signed. We also have a text message here where Mr. Ferrell has, you see him doing his part. Hey, Reggie, I did another $70,000 this morning, bringing it to $278,000. Please let me know. Let's get on track this month with operating contracts, operation contracts. Mark was doing his part. This is May 2nd, 2022. Right. Remember, they had just signed the operational agreement. And let's just pull that up, because we like facts over here. April the 28th, 2022, and he was already, starting to put those funds back in the account as indicated. And even look at the second message, where I'll let you kind of jump in. The county's response to the fact that he's putting money and acknowledging, right. that he's back.
You're 100% correct. Here you are on the same thread, same day. Kelly not only acknowledges, one, all of her accounts have now been switched to her personal accounts. Anything that comes out, the company account pertaining to the following airlines, and she goes through a list. She asserts that they are company expenses, and she'll provide receipts for records. Thank you. Well, I tell you one thing, we're anxious for the receipts, because in the same thread, someone has to correct her to tell her, these expenses that you are identifying, they're not all business expenses. But here's the point. It's not to embarrass anyone. It is to get to the truth. And it's to get to the facts. And it's to allow us to put, as we say, fact over fiction, right? That's been the theme when it comes to this team. We are grateful to have our day in court. We are grateful to be able to go public. I know I've spoken with Mr. Ferrell on a number of occasions, and he said he just thought that the truth would come out, because the reality is Kelly, not only, you can see in that last text message, was well aware of the operating agreement, of the funds in the account that was earmarked for the building fund, the time frame that she was aware of it at all times. And again, let's juxtapose that to when she actually went to court in June of 2022. So here she is having these robust conversations about making sure that her accounts are personal and not commingling with business. Now, whether she was actually doing it is a whole different issue. But here she is acknowledging, and yet goes to court in June of 2022, very next month, and cries crocodile tears and asserts some has no access to this Nana's Chicken and Waffles account, and she has no idea. And more importantly, she flat out lies to the court and says that Mr. Ferrell stole money from the business. Now, here she is having a conversation acknowledging that she is going to make sure she's not commingling. There is a big round $270,000 number that addresses where the money is, the money that is being put in. She does not refute that money is actually in the account. She does not refute that she has access to it. She goes on to address what her role is supposed to be in the operating agreement, making sure that the finances are on track. So again, when we talk about the faintest ink is stronger than the strongest memory, we're here talking about fact over fiction. Mr. Ferrell, he's going to have his day in court. But right now, when we start talking about the bold-faced lies that Kelly Potter put forward, not only to the court, at the behest not only of herself, but Bravo, because Bravo's not off the hook. They have this information. Kelly, along with the court clerk, that really stole the ability for Mr. Ferrell to have his day in court, because through all of this, Kelly not only did not serve Mr. Ferrell with the papers to come to court, to let him even know there was a court date in question.
Right.
The court clerk, Miss Janice, right? The court clerk who was responsible for getting the notice, docketing the notice, and making sure that notice was obtained and achieved before even having a hearing. The judge was supposed to make sure that Mr. Ferrell was served, to make sure that he would be there to say his piece. Everybody just floated on and moved forward around him, took his company from him, took Miss Potter's work in a state where what was king should have been the operating agreement, right? The actual
100%.
bank statements.
Exactly. Exactly. 100% agree. And we are actually going to do a whole nother episode of this on the process serving, or the lack thereof. We're going to talk about some of the
Right.
other critical things that involve this case as well. And I think this is where we can probably wrap this up. I think we've made your team, your people would say, we closing arguments have been stated. We presented the facts and the evidence as to who was the rightful owner, and I should say who is the rightful owner of Nana's Chicken and Waffle, and the operating agreement that outlines that. I think that we've done all of that today, which is one of the things that we wanted to make sure that we got out to the public today. And I think that's just important for people to know that are watching all of this kind of unfold. And Mark can speak to one of the things that I've really admired about Mark this entire thing, is the fact that if someone would have done this to me and the business that I built, right, I wouldn't want them to have any part of it. But Mark has always maintained,
Right.
look, she's more than deserving of 50%, but not 100%. I don't understand why she is trying to take everything from me. And that to me speaks to the character of this man who has had his home taken, his business trucks, his personal cars, his children, his finances. He went from being a multi-millionaire to being destitute and having, experiencing homelessness and asking parents for help and friends for help. And so this is why we're doing this, because facts need to come out. And it's so important that you stop watching reality TV and thinking that it is, real.
Right.
It's not, it's actually, and this is a storyline. So it's important that, the I think we're getting a little echo. Probably if we can maybe go, I think maybe, on mute, you guys.
Do you want me to put my, do you want me to mute?
Hello, testing.
That's better.
Oh, I think it's okay. I think we're better. Yeah. So it's important that we get out these facts. It's important that we tell these stories. It's important that we show the facts. And honestly, I'm really hopeful that these facts, these details, this evidence help stop the ignorance that's out there. Let this case play out in the court system. And obviously here we're playing it out in the court of public opinion, because that is the venue that Ms. Potter has chose to play it out in. It wasn't our intention to play this out in this venue, the public opinion venue. However, this is where she's put out there. So we're going to continue to touch on a lot of the lies that have been stated, the defamation that has been conducted over the past couple of months. And we're here to help Mr. Ferrell get his life back, get his business back. So, any closing words, Mark, Latoya, please feel free, jump on in. You're on mute, Mark.
I'm sorry. Yeah, my main thing is just to get the facts out, because, the way she went on national TV and dragged me and making everyone think I'm this bad animal and things like that. That's my main goal, is to get my point across and all the facts out to the world.
Absolutely.
I get messages all the time. People actually take the time out to go on my DMs and call me deadbeat. I'm terrible, a terrible father, and things like that. It's very hurtful, to get those messages when it's not true. So I just want to continue showing all the evidence that I have, what I've been through.
Absolutely.
And the only thing that I would say in closing is, again, I commend Mr. Ferrell for being steadfast and being committed to facts. Yes, right now we're in the court of public opinion, but fact is better than fiction. And what we talked about today in terms of the operating agreement really is just the first step in unpeeling this onion. Mr. Ferrell was done a grave disservice, not just by Kelly Potter, but in her using this platform of the Real Housewives of Atlanta and their producers, amplifying the lie, and putting Mr. Ferrell in a position where he has lost everything, it is incumbent on us to put fact over fiction. The reality is Mr. Ferrell did not steal from anyone, never did, never could have. He is not a thief, he is not a liar, and more importantly, when the court of public opinion starts catching up with what we're doing in the court of law, I think there will be a reckoning. And so I commend you, Mr. Ferrell, for being so steadfast and so patient. Let's hope that Kelly can learn from your grace and your goodwill. Everyone would be better for it.
Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to wrap up this segment and we're going to keep on moving, getting this case out there. Okay, you guys, again, my name is Jodi Lewis, CEO of the Brand Development Group. I hope you enjoyed that. Please like, please subscribe, please share. Let's get this information out there for all of you guys that have ever been wronged, for all of you guys that just care about justice, just care about truth, for anyone that has potentially made a negative comment and you're just now getting the actual facts or hearing the other side of the story. We do ask that you repost this, you share this, and you give grace where grace is due. So that is a wrap, and we will actually start preparing for another episode where we're going to give you more facts about this case. Thank you so much for tuning in. When the legal system falls silent, the people must speak. Welcome to the BDG's Court of Public Opinion, where truth meets strategy.